Incredible discovery, Millionaire exposes hidden secret of Heartwarming Maid who risked everything. Maria Johnson's hands shook as she polished the silver candlesticks in the lavish dining room, the echoes of laughter from last night's charity gala still dancing in her ears. This wasn't just a job, it was a lifeline. With her husband deployed overseas, every dollar she earned mattered. As the single mother of two, her days were a whirlwind of school drop-offs, shifts at the diner, and scrubbing floors at homes far grander than her own. Proud, she couldn't let her kids feel a lack. But her heart was heavy, knowing that if she faltered, their fragile world might crumble. The mansion around her sparkled, yet every twinkling surface reminded her of the impossible standards her children faced. She sighed, thinking of her son's science project, suddenly inspired by their neighbor's fancy gadgets and crisp uniforms. Tears stung her eyes as she wiped the tablecloth one last time. This is what she fought for, a brighter future for them, full of hope and opportunities. As she turned, startled to see the last of the guests still lingering, her heart skipped. Jacob Hart, the reclusive billionaire, towered above her with a brooding gaze that masked his emotional scars. He was a far cry from the laughter she had witnessed last night. Across the room, people clinked glasses, celebrating while Maria carried the weight of the world. They were worlds apart, and yet something compelled her to smile. "Do you live nearby?" Jacob's voice was deep, curious. Maria hesitated. "Just down the street." He nodded, face inscrutable. "What's it like?" She chuckled softly, a twinkle in her eye. "Like everywhere else. Beautiful and broken in equal measure." Their eyes locked, and for a moment, walls began to crumble. Maria saw beyond his wealth. Behind the designer suits and polished demeanor was a man in pain, struggling with his privilege. For the first time, Jacob felt something stir within him. She didn't just clean his house, she brought warmth into it. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days passed, and whispers filled the air of impending cuts to the community center, a place where Maria volunteered tirelessly, teaching kids to dream, just as she had. She felt her heart tighten, anger rising deep within her. The center wasn't just a building, it was home, a heartbeat of the community. How could they shut it down? That evening, at the fundraising gala for veterans, Maria stood to speak, nerves dancing in her stomach. Her voice shook yet carried strength. "This center supports our families. It teaches kids to believe in their futures." The crowd murmured, faces turned, scrutinizing her. As she poured her heart out, Jacob watched, a flicker of understanding igniting in his chest. Suddenly, he stood, silence enveloping the room. "I've been a silent supporter of this center," he announced, pulling everyone's stunned gaze to him. "And I will continue to be." Gasps rippled through the crowd, the air thick with shock and emotion. Maria's heart raced. This was more than his words, it was a promise to stand together. Hope surged as her community's fight began to unite, crackling with a new energy. But uncertainty lingered. Would they rally behind them, or would old prejudices pull them apart? Maria's heart was on the line, yet she was ready to face whatever came next. Would the fire they ignited be enough to save the future she dreamed of for her children? The room buzzed with anticipation, and Maria's resolve solidified as hope danced on the horizon, waiting to unfold. Maria barely slept that night. The moment Jacob stood up at the gala replayed in her mind over and over. Had she actually witnessed a billionaire speaking for the little guy? It seemed unreal. As dawn broke and sunlight spilled through her small kitchen window, she could almost taste the promise of change. Her children, Alex and Lily, burst into the room, their energy electrifying. They shared stories from school, laughter bubbling over breakfast, and Maria found solace in their innocent joy. But as she poured cereal, the harsh reality of the community center's fate loomed over her. "Mom, are we still going to the center today?" Lily asked, her small fingers clutching a spoon tightly. Maria hesitated, thoughts racing. "Of course, sweetheart. We're going. We'll fight for it." The determination in her voice surprised even her. The center wasn't just a place, it was where dreams were nurtured. It was where she had found her purpose. When they arrived, the parking lot was buzzing with activity. Parents and kids gathered, sharing ideas and hopes for what they could do to save their beloved center. Maria felt the adrenaline surge as she spotted familiar faces, warriors bound by a shared goal. Seeing them united sparked a fierce pride within her. She stepped forward, calling everyone to come together. "We need to plan our next steps," she said, her voice steady. "Let us brainstorm fundraisers, petitions, anything that can help." As ideas volleyed back and forth, Maria's heart swelled. They spoke passionately, fueled by fear of losing their sanctuary. But then, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd: Jacob, standing at the edge, observing. Her stomach churned. What was he doing here? "Can I join?" he asked, his voice calm yet commanding. The group paused, eyes flicking between him and Maria. "Sure," she replied, trying to keep her tone neutral while her insides danced with uncertainty. Jacob stepped forward, his presence undeniable. "I believe in this center," he stated, gathering nods from the crowd. "And I have resources. We can hold a gala, one to raise awareness and funds. It's time for my privilege to serve a greater purpose." Gasps peppered the crowd. Maria's heart raced, part admiration, part disbelief. While some whispered their doubts, others felt the weight of his words. Everyone knew Jacob Hart's wealth, yet many still feared his motives. Nevertheless, hope flickered brighter in Maria. "Thank you, Jacob," she said carefully, choosing her words. "But what about the people's voices? They need to be heard." Her voice rang out strong, fueled by both excitement and fear. Jacob nodded slowly, respect glimmering in his eyes. "Absolutely. We need every voice in this fight." The meeting buzzed with energy as plans took shape. They talked late into the afternoon, strategizing and dreaming. Ideas brightened their spirits: car washes, bake sales, a community talent show, all ways to draw in support. Yet, amid the whirlwind of plans, Maria's heart hung heavy. Could they really make this happen? Would they break through the barriers that often kept them apart? As the sun set, painting the sky with hope, a sudden thought struck Maria: what if people couldn't overlook the past, and Jacob couldn't deliver on his promises? Just then, a hand squeezed her shoulder. It was Lily, her eyes wide with certainty. "Mom, we can do this, right?" Maria smiled, though worry lingered. "We will do our best, sweetie." But deep down, uncertainty gnawed at her. Could this truly be the turning point? She closed her eyes for a brief moment, breathing in the cool evening air, praying for strength. As the sky darkened, illuminating the paths ahead, the warmth of community enveloped her. They were steeling themselves for the challenges ahead. In her heart, determination ignited like wildfire. But standing at the crossroads of hope, Maria couldn't shake a troubling question: would Jacob's commitment hold firm when the storms rolled in? The winds of change were blowing, but would they have the stability to weather the storm? Maria rose early the next morning, her resolve as strong as the sun filtering through her curtains. The conversation from the community center echoed in her mind, a blend of hope and doubt mingling within her like a storm about to break. "Mom, can we get pancakes?" Alex's voice lingered in the air, pulling her back to reality. She grinned at the sight of her kids, their faces bright with anticipation. "Pancakes it is," she declared, embracing the moment. The simple act of cooking eased the tension in her heart. Butter melted on golden brown circles as they sizzled on the skillet, filling the kitchen with a tempting aroma. As the morning passed, the weight of the day ahead pressed down on her. The thoughts of meeting Jacob again were a mixed bag of excitement and apprehension. He had come forth as an ally, but could she truly trust him? With plates filled and laughter shared, they all sat down at the old wooden table. Alex recounted an amusing incident from school, and even Lily chimed in with a story about her new art project. Their giggles wrapped around Maria like a warm blanket, but a nagging worry pulled at her, nudging her mind back to the reality of their situation. Can we really rely on Jacob? She wondered aloud, glancing at her children's hopeful faces. After breakfast, they headed to the community center. As she drove, she thought of the plans laid out the day before. The possibility of organizing a gala was thrilling yet daunting. Would everyone rally around it? When they arrived, the familiar sights and sounds of the center buzzed with energy. She could see her neighbors already gathered, banners in hand, ready to brainstorm. Maria's heart fluttered with pride all over again. "Okay, everyone," she called out, her voice strong. They turned, smiling and eager, each face reflecting the determination that filled the air. "Let us get to it. We have a gala to plan." As the ideas began to flow, Maria noticed Jacob enter the room. He wore a black jacket over a casual white shirt, and despite the casual look, he commanded attention. A few murmurs rippled through the group. Some nodded in appreciation while others cast wary glances. "Thank you for trusting me to be here," he said, raising his hand slightly to calm the crowd. "Together, we can create something special." His sincerity resonated, drawing cautious optimism from the crowd. Maria's heart thudded. This was their chance. But she couldn't ignore the unease in her gut. What if someone questioned his motives? "Jacob," she interjected, holding his gaze. "We need to ensure the community feels included. What do you propose to make that happen?" His pause spoke volumes, and Maria held her breath. "I'll host open forums," he replied finally. "Everyone can voice concerns and suggest ideas. Transparency will matter most." Relief washed over her. Perhaps he really meant it. They spent the next hours weaving ideas together, encouraging kids to perform, parents to volunteer. Laughter filled the room, blending with notes of creativity and empowerment. Yet, as the meeting concluded and they began to disperse, a small group lingered near the door. Maria recognized a couple of voices, whispers laced with uncertainty. "Can we trust him?" one woman asked, her brow creased. Maria felt the air shift. "Am I right to trust Jacob?" Each lingering doubt made her gut twist. In her heart, she wanted to believe, she had to believe. With Lily tugging at her shirt, Maria took a deep breath. "Let us show him what we can do together," she replied, trying to bolster both her own confidence and that of the group. The drive home felt different. Determined yet fraught with worry, she glanced at her children laughing in the back. Could this amount to something more than just a gala? Could they build a bridge of trust strong enough to hold? As dusk settled in, Maria made a promise to herself. She would fight for her community and hold Jacob accountable. No matter what it took, she would break through the silence surrounding them. But as she settled into bed that night, an unsettling feeling crept back in. What if their trust began to unravel when Jacob's true intentions became clear? The winds of change were swirling, but Maria had to know if they would unite them or tear them apart. The sun pierced through the curtains again, pushing away the night and awakening a new day filled with possibilities. Maria opened her eyes, a tangle of thoughts swirling in her mind. The worry about Jacob's intentions lingered in her mind like a shadow. She took a deep breath, reminding herself of the strength that had emerged within her. "Mom, can we go to the park today?" Alex's voice bounced through the hallway, his enthusiasm like a splash of cold water on her weary spirit. "Why not? Let us pack a picnic," she responded, her heart lifting at the thought of spending time with her kids outdoors. Maybe a day at the park would be just what she needed to clear her head. The morning unfolded neatly, with the kids helping pack sandwiches, grapes, and juice boxes. They filled a brightly colored blanket with their favorite treats, laughter spilling over every little task. With each moment shared, Maria felt the tightness in her chest loosen, signaling a glimmer of hope. As they drove to the park, the world outside seemed vibrant in the sunlight. Children played and dogs chased after frisbees, their carefree laughter echoing through the air. It reminded her of childhood days spent without worries, when innocence wrapped around her like a cozy sweater. After unpacking their picnic under the shade of a big oak tree, the kids dashed to the playground. Maria sat back, her heart swelling with joy as she watched them run. Yet, in the depths of her mind, Jacob's words lingered. Could he really unite the community? Would he be the ally they needed? "Mom, look at me!" Alex shouted, swinging high on the swing set, his face lit with pure glee. "That's awesome, sweetheart!" She called back, unable to suppress her smile. For now, she chose to focus on these simple, sweet moments. As she perused the park, a familiar face caught her eye. Jacob was walking towards her, looking uncharacteristically casual in jeans and a t-shirt. He waved, a friendly grin splitting his face. "Mind if I join you?" he asked, gesturing to the open space near their picnic. Taken aback, Maria hesitated. The initial urge to question his presence struggled against a flicker of curiosity. "Sure, I suppose," she replied cautiously. He settled on the blanket, and for a moment, each of them seemed to weigh the other's intentions. "I didn't expect to find you out here," he began, his gaze softening. "I thought we might focus on community work today, but seeing families enjoying themselves is important too." Maria sensed honesty in his voice, but the gnawing uncertainty remained. "It's a big step, planning the gala," she said carefully. "Why are you so invested in this?" He took a deep breath, leaning closer. "Maria, I grew up in a community much like this one. I know what it means to feel isolated and powerless. That's why I want to help. I want to create something beautiful together." His sincerity pulsed through the air, but Maria couldn't shake off the echo of doubts whispering warnings in her mind. "But, what if it all falls apart?" she challenged. "Then we'll pick up the pieces, together. The trust of the people is earned. I'm willing to work hard for it." Silence enveloped them briefly as they observed the joyous commotion around them. Alex and Lily played happily, lost in their world of make-believe. In that moment, Maria could see the good, but her instincts warned her about the unknown. "Let's bring everyone together, like you said. But I'll keep my eyes open," she finally said, her voice steady. Jacob nodded, respect shining in his eyes, as if he appreciated her skepticism. But just then, an urgent shout rang out from the playground. "Help! Somebody help!" Maria's heart raced as she shot up, her attention honed in on the children's frantic movements. Was it Alex? Together, they rushed towards the chaos, but the lingering question gnawed at her. Could everything she hoped for come crashing down in the blink of an eye? The playground had transformed from a scene of joy to one of panic. The playful laughter of children was replaced by cries, pierced by urgency. Maria's heart pounded in her chest as she pushed through the crowd, her eyes desperately scanning for Alex. "Mom! I can't find Lily." Alex's voice broke through the confusion, his face a mask of fear and confusion. Her breath hitched. "Lily? Where was she?" "Over by the slide. I thought she was coming down," but then without thinking, Maria grabbed Alex's hand, pulling him into a frenzy of worried parents and anxious kids. They reached the slide, and her eyes widened as she saw Lily lying on the ground, tears streaming down her small face. Rushing forward, Maria knelt beside her daughter. "Lily! What happened?" In a choked voice, Lily pointed towards the swing where another child had fallen. "I just wanted to push him but I slipped, and then I fell." Maria's heart raced as she assessed Lily's condition. "Are you hurt?" Can you stand? Lily shook her head, her eyes wide and glistening with unshed tears. Maria could see the fear pulsating through her body, but she remained composed. It's all right, sweetie. Let us get you up, okay? Just then, Jacob appeared beside them, kneeling down to Lily's level. Hey, you're doing great, Lily. Can I help you? His calm demeanor seemed to have an immediate reassuring effect. Lily nodded faintly, and with careful movements, Jacob helped her stand. She leaned against him, her small frame trembling as her sobs subsided into gentle sniffles. Maria felt a warmth swell within her, that connection forged in unexpected moments of crisis. Jacob's presence shifted something in the air, something she desperately needed assurance. However, doubts flashed in her mind. What if this was all part of a bigger picture she couldn't yet see? Let us get you back to your brother, Jacob suggested, guiding Lily as he positioned himself protectively beside her. As they made their way back, Maria felt the gaze of the onlookers. She could sense their concern and whispers, but she pushed it away. They turned back toward where Alex stood, his little frame rigid with worry. When she reached Alex, the relief in his eyes melted the heaviness weighing on her. Mom! Is she okay? She's fine, just a little shaken up, Maria assured him, wrapping them both in an embrace. The laughter of children resumed but carried the sweetness of a lesson learned. The playground and its joys weren't as innocent as they seemed. As they settled back on the picnic blanket, the atmosphere had shifted. Maria caught Jacob watching her with an expression of admiration, as if he held a secret she wasn't aware of yet. Thank you, she said quietly, looking directly into his eyes. For helping her. It's what we do as a community, he replied, his tone softening. We look after each other. But there it was again, that nagging voice in her mind. Could she trust him? Could she trust this newfound connection? Suddenly, over the murmur of the crowd, the park ranger's voice rang out. Everyone, we need to gather for a brief announcement. Eyes turned towards the ranger, and Maria felt a pulse of dread. What now? As they all paused, Jacob leaned closer, whispering, whatever it is, we'll face it together. And suddenly, Maria realized it wasn't just about the gala anymore, it was about something deeper. Something that might change everything. The crowd moved closer as the ranger began speaking, and Maria's heart raced. What news awaited them? What was building behind the facade of their everyday lives? And could it truly lead to the unity Jacob envisioned, or would it shatter the fragile trust that was beginning to develop? The crowd buzzed with murmurs, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Maria felt a strange mix of anxiety and curiosity as she clutched her kids closer, their small bodies anchoring her against the unknown. The park ranger stood tall, his uniform crisp against the backdrop of worried parents and restless children. Thank you for gathering, everyone, he began, his voice calm yet firm. I have an important announcement regarding our community and some recent events that may affect all of us. Maria exchanged a quick glance with Jacob. His brow was furrowed, and she could see the same storm of emotions reflecting in his eyes. Earlier today, we discovered evidence of a safety issue that has been affecting our playground, the ranger said gravely. We've received reports of hazards in several park areas, and we are launching a full investigation. Until then, we'll have to temporarily close certain sections, including this playground. Gasps filled the crowd, a wave of disbelief washing over them. Parents shifted uneasily, and a few children let out wails at the thought of losing their safe space. Maria felt her heart sinking. Their community sanctuary, the place where laughter echoed, was suddenly under threat. What are we supposed to do? Alex's voice broke through, casting a shadow over Maria's thoughts. He was struggling to process the news, and she knew the disappointment etched across his face mirrored her own. They can fix it, right? Lily asked, her small hands gripping Maria's arm. Her innocence tugged at Maria's heart, stirring a protective yearning deep within. Jacob stepped forward, a determined look shining through the lingering anxiety. "We will fight for this playground," he proclaimed, looking around at the crowd. "This is our space, we built it together. Let us organize, come together as a community, and ensure our children have a safe place to play and grow." Maria's breath caught in her throat. She felt a flicker of hope igniting inside her chest. Maybe Jacob was onto something. United, they could make a difference. She couldn't help but admire the passion driving him. It might spark something transformative in their community. An elder woman nearby nodded, rallying to Jacob's call. "He's absolutely right. We've faced challenges before. We can do this." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Maria felt excitement mingling with the fear that had gripped her earlier. She could see resolve building among the parents. Through their faces, she saw reflections of strength and camaraderie. A spark of energy surged within her. "We should set up a meeting. Gather ideas on how to support the park and raise awareness." "Great idea!" someone from the back shouted, igniting a wave of enthusiasm. With every passing moment, Maria felt her intuition guiding her closer to Jacob, but the question still lingered: could she really trust him and the vision he had for bringing the community together? As discussions began to take shape, Maria glanced at Lily, who was playing with Alex. They were oblivious to the heavy discussions unfolding around them, their laughter ringing out like a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty. "It's worth it to stand up for what we believe in," Jacob said quietly beside her. He turned, meeting her gaze with unwavering sincerity. "We can change the outcome if we make our voices heard." Something about the way he looked at her caused her heart to flutter, and for a moment, the noise faded as their connection deepened. But just as quickly as it soared, a pang of doubt followed. Suddenly, a shrill scream shattered the moment. A child further back in the crowd had tripped over a piece of playground equipment. All eyes turned toward the chaos, and Maria's stomach twisted with anxiety again. "What now?" she murmured, her focus shifting back to her children. The crowd stirred, and Jacob immediately moved toward the source of the commotion, calling for calm. "Stay here with the kids," he instructed, his tone steady as he took command amidst the chaos. Maria's heart sped up, torn between wanting to follow him and needing to be a safety net for her own. Yet as she watched him move with confidence and purpose, her breath caught. What was happening in their community, in their hearts, was shifting. She could feel the winds of change swirling around her, but uncertainty lingered in the air. Would it all lead to something good or more chaos? As they rushed to assist, Maria wondered, could the truth about their community, and herself, finally emerge amidst the noise? The chaos settled into a tense quiet as parents rushed to the child who had fallen. Maria felt a knot tightening in her chest while her kids clung to her side, wide-eyed and worried. She could see Jacob gracefully maneuvering through the crowd, his confidence unmistakable even in the face of uncertainty. There was something inspiring about how he seemed to command the situation. In a matter of moments, he reached the child, kneeling beside a little girl who was now crying softly. The panic on the girl's face broke Maria's heart. She watched as Jacob spoke gently to her, his voice low and soothing, reassuring her that everything would be all right. He glanced back at the crowd, his gaze seeking out the child's parent amidst the chaos, and Maria felt a swell of admiration. Moving closer, Maria whispered to Lily, "It's okay, sweetie, just hold on tight." The little girl looked up at her, eyes wide and scared, yet trusting. Maria stroked her hair and thought how quickly their world could flip, how heroism could unfold in a split second. Would they face more unexpected challenges? As Jacob helped the child up, Maria noticed the flicker of determination in his expression. He was showing everyone a side of community leadership that resonated deeply. The parents waiting around them drew in a collective breath, their worry morphing into a quiet hope. "Is she going to be all right?" someone asked nervously, stepping forward to see. "She just tripped, but I think she'll be okay," Jacob replied, standing back up and brushing the dirt off of the girl's clothes. Relief washed over the gathering as parents nodded, and murmurs of gratitude rippled through the crowd. Then, as the little girl's mother rushed forward, panic replaced by thank yous, Maria felt something shift within her. Their playground wasn't just a space for laughs and games, it was a thread weaving them all together. Jacob's earlier words echoed in her mind, "This is our space." Could they truly redefine that space together? What's next? Maria spoke up, surprising herself with the firmness in her voice. Jacob looked over, a mix of respect and encouragement in his eyes. She continued, "We need to keep this energy going. Let us form a committee or task force right here, right now. We can meet weekly to share ideas and organize ways to keep this park safe." Excitement flickered among the crowd. Hands shot up, each parent eager to contribute. Jacob stepped closer, nodding with pride. There it is. Everyone has talents to contribute. Let us draw from our strengths. As ideas began to bounce off each other, Maria's pulse quickened. Suddenly, their fears morphed into possibilities. The crowd started to buzz, parents calling out suggestions, fundraising events, cleaning days, inviting local businesses to donate for repairs. Amidst the conversations, Maria caught Jacob's eye again. This time, it wasn't just admiration, it was a genuine connection, a camaraderie forming through shared purpose. Her heart raced at the thought. Lily tugged impatiently at her shirt. "Mom, can we get ice cream after this?" "Yes, of course, honey," Maria replied, smiling at her daughter's innocent distraction from the growing tensions. But something niggled at her mind. Amid their newfound excitement and unity, she sensed challenges ahead. "Let us not forget," she interjected, taking a deep breath, "we have to make sure we're heard. Everyone in this park deserves to play a part in keeping it safe. We can't just fight for our playground, we have to unite for our community." Just as her words settled in, the park ranger returned, clipboard in hand, looking frazzled but determined. "I have some important updates." The crowd fell silent, anticipation filling the air once again. Maria's heart raced. What would the ranger reveal? Would it help propel their movement or stall their momentum? As the community held its breath, Maria felt the thrill of possibility. They were all in this together. But would they be ready for whatever came next? The park ranger cleared his throat, drawing in the attention of the crowd that hung on his every word. "As many of you know, we've been dealing with some budget cuts and a lot of uncertainty regarding the park's future." He glanced at the concerned faces before continuing. "However, we've recently received a significant donation from a local business, which is earmarked specifically for park improvements." But there's a catch. Whispers spread through the crowd like wildfire. Maria's heart skipped. This could be what they needed to strengthen their cause, but she sensed the tension behind the ranger's words. "The donation is conditional," he continued, eyes scanning the parents. "It can only be used if there's a community effort behind it. We need organized participation to access these funds." Maria's heart raced. This was not just a chance to improve the park, it was a lifeline for their new initiative. The commotion around her grew louder as parents shared hopeful glances. Jacob stepped forward, his face lit with enthusiasm. "I think we just found our motivation. If we can show that we're committed to this park, we can secure that funding." The nervousness was quickly replaced by excitement. People began to form small clusters, brainstorming again, ideas flew like confetti. The air crackled with hope, and for Maria, the park transformed into a beacon of possibility. She felt as if they were standing at the edge of something greater than they had anticipated. But as the conversations gathered momentum, Maria's gaze wandered to Jacob. His determination was magnetic. Each time their eyes met, a spark seemed to ignite. She could feel it in her gut, a connection far deeper than mutual goals. Such feelings were rarely straightforward, especially in a place where shadows of uncertainty loomed. Gathering her thoughts, she raised her hand. "Can we think beyond just the park? This could be the start of a bigger community movement, one that brings us all together for not just the park, but for everything happening around here." The crowd halted, absorbing her words. Murmurs of agreement spread, transforming their individual roles into a collective mission. "Let us focus on our neighborhood," someone called out. "We can set up an event. A community fair. We can highlight local businesses and connect with the residents." Maria beamed. The vision was becoming clearer. A fair could unite them, creating a festival of support, not only for the park but for the entire community. They could showcase talents, creativity, and heart, all while fundraising to keep their space safe. Just then, as thoughts of ice cream danced in her mind, she noticed a figure standing apart from the group, a woman in a faded apron, quietly observing. Maria recognized her from the neighborhood, a solitary presence often seen sweeping the sidewalks or tending to gardens. There was something about the woman's expression, a mix of caution and hope. "Excuse me," Maria ventured, stepping toward her. "What do you think?" "We want everyone to be involved." The woman hesitated. "I appreciate that, but many in our community want to join. They've lost faith." The truth of her words hit hard. Maria's heart sank for a moment, the weight of reality pressing down. It was easy to feel hopeful when everyone stood united, but what about those who felt cast aside, who didn't see themselves in this vision? Before she could respond, Jacob joined them. "We need your voice. Everyone is welcome. Together, we can show that this community still matters." A quiet moment enveloped them, charged with the promise of change. Maria looked back at Jacob, admiration swelling. The spark between them ignited once more, growing brighter. But with it came an overwhelming question: was she ready to embrace the unknown, to face whatever fears loomed ahead? The woman's eyes softened a little. "I might help, but it's going to take more than words." As Maria caught a flicker of hope in the woman's reluctant smile, she realized they had just begun. This project of theirs could become so much more, but it also required them to dig deeper into their hearts and homes. The air buzzed again with renewed energy, yet a lingering sense of uncertainty followed. Just as the conversations escalated and laughter began to weave through the crowd, Maria felt a shiver crawl down her spine. What hidden barriers still stood between them and the community they longed to create? In that moment of realization, everything shifted. Their journey was just beginning, and Maria couldn't shake the weight of her thoughts. How could they get through the shadows, and what other secrets would unfold as they pushed forward? The answers felt tantalizingly out of reach, and she knew the coming days would test their resolve and her heart. Would they rise to the occasion, or would their dreams dissipate like the setting sun? The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows as the gathering fizzled into small, animated groups. Maria stood off to one side, overwhelmed by the cacophony of voices and rippling excitement. Every heartbeat thudded in her ears, and she couldn't shake the feeling that the future was teetering on a precipice, just out of reach. "Hey, you all right?" Jacob's voice cut through her thoughts like a warm breeze. He stepped closer, his concern palpable. "Just thinking, what if we can't reach everyone?" The words tumbled out before she could catch them. He shrugged, that infectious smile blossoming on his face. "Then we keep trying. This is so much bigger than what it seems now." Her heart fluttered. A wave of gratitude washed over her. Jacob's optimism was contagious, and she couldn't help but admire his unwavering spirit. "I hope you're right," she said softly. "I know I am." Jacob leaned in a little, the atmosphere shifting around them. "Let us make a plan. How can we start getting people involved?" "We need to reach out to those who feel isolated." Maria nodded, heart racing with ideas. "What if we created a flyer, something simple, that delivers a message of hope? We could show how this is about more than just the park." "Yes!" he exclaimed, his enthusiasm igniting more sparks in her chest. "We can showcase stories from the community, share how they've been impacted, maybe even highlight some local heroes." Before they could discuss details, the murmurs of the crowd turned more serious. A few faces had grown tense, brows furrowed as they watched a family stride toward them. Maria recognized the father immediately, he was but a ghost of his former self, exhaustion etched in his features. "Excuse me, but we heard what you all are planning," the father said, his voice hesitant yet firm. "What if it doesn't work? We've tried things like this before. It only leads to disappointment." The air grew heavy with unspoken worries. Maria could feel the skepticism hanging like a cloud. But behind it was something darker, fear of failure. "I understand," she responded, her voice steady. "But what if this time we did it together? What if we each took small steps? It may not be perfect, but even small victories can lead to real change." Another member of the family nodded slightly, though doubt still lingered in his eyes. "It's been so long since we've seen anything change here," he muttered, but the acknowledgement gave Maria hope. "Exactly," Jacob chimed in. "Every move we make is a chance to build trust again, to reignite that sense of community." As he spoke, Maria could see glimmers of doubt flickering in some of the onlookers. Maybe they were starting to believe, even just a little. Then, as if magic had cracked through their fears, the woman from earlier, the one in the faded apron, stepped forward. "I lost a lot during the last big effort. But if you need me, I'll help. It's time to try again." A ripple of applause ventured through the crowd, a rush of solidarity that reverberated deep within Maria's chest. But just as quickly, it was extinguished by a heavy silence. The sound of sirens echoed in the distance, drawing everyone's south attention toward the road. Eyes widened, and the air shifted with concern. Parents shifted closer to their children, whispering anxiously. "What is going on?" Jacob asked, his voice breaking through the tension. Then, a figure appeared, a community member that everyone knew. His eyes were wide, and he waved his arms. "There's been an accident at the park. A tree fell down near the playground." Gasps rippled through the group. The initial excitement morphed into worries. "We were just starting to believe." Maria's voice trailed off, her heart sinking once again. But Jacob gripped her shoulder. "This isn't the end. This can't be the end." She looked deep into his eyes, where determination shone brightly. Just then, Maria realized they had a chance to turn this tragedy into a rallying cry. Would they rise up against misfortune and unite their community in the face of uncertainty? Or would despair win yet again? Within that moment of decision, Maria felt a fire ignite within her soul. Uplifting hope within the community was no longer a question, it was their new mission. And with that thought roaring ahead, she knew this was just the beginning. The sound of sirens faded, but the looming uncertainty clung to Maria like a second skin. Yet, as fear washed over the crowd, she felt something change inside her. "This isn't just a tree that fell. This is our chance to show what we're made of." Maria called out, her voice growing stronger with every word. She felt the gaze of Jacob on her, a mixture of pride and encouragement that fueled her resolve. "Let us turn this around, together." Jacob echoed, step by her side, the unity between them palpable. "We can organize a cleanup. Bring the community together to fix what's broken." A wave of murmurs washed through the crowd, but Maria's heart quickened. People stirred, exchanging glances of cautious hope. Someone shouted from the back, "Let us make a day of it. Families can come together, work together, and heal together." "Yes." Maria replied, the passion in her voice ringing out clearly. "We've weathered storms before, we can do it again. We'll create a festival out of this, celebrate our survival, and show that this park belongs to all of us." Excitement bloomed. An old man stepped forward, leaning on his cane. "In my days, we'd have picnics after a storm, we'd rebuild with laughter." He glanced around, urging the energy to rise. "Count me in." Others agreed, one after another, rallying to the call. The shadows of doubt began to lift as trepidation transformed into action. As Amanda from down the street said, "I'll bake for the day. Nothing says community better than cookies." Maria felt herself smiling wide as the buzz grew louder, ideas flying left and right. Each voice joined the chorus until the park hummed with renewed energy, a celebration already forming in their minds. Amidst the excitement, she could still hear the echoes of the past, the disappointments, the hesitations lingering in the air. But those whispers began to fade under the cacophony of hope. People were stepping forward, embracing the belief that they could cultivate something beautiful from the ashes. As they put the finishing touches on their plans, Maria turned to Jacob. "Are you ready for this? It might be harder than we think." He met her gaze, unwavering. "With you at my side, I can face anything. Together, we're stronger than any tree that falls." Her heart fluttered at his words. There it was again, a connection deeper than they had imagined. Days melted into weeks. The community gathered for their cleanup, laughter spilling through the work they tackled side by side. Parents and kids, neighbors and friends, all repairing what the storm had disrupted. Amidst the laughter and shared efforts, Maria witnessed miracles. Old tensions started to break apart, smiles blossomed, and new friendships formed. Their park once again heard the sounds of joy, a rogues gallery of makeshift tents and delight where people came to share snacks, stories, and treasured time. As dusk fell on that fateful day, Maria stood beside Jacob, watching children run and play, their laughter echoing through the twilight. "Look at this," he whispered. "This is real change." She turned to him, the warmth of the sun setting behind them wrapping them in a golden glow. "We did this together." But then, Jacob's eyes glazed momentarily as if the weight of his past weighed heavily on him. "I was always scared of being seen. I thought every attempt to help meant they would see me as just a billionaire trying to protect my image. But you," he turned to her, vulnerability shining through. "You showed me the strength of community, the power of standing together." Those words hit home, and tears pricked Maria's eyes. "It's not about the money, Jacob. It's never been. It's about nurturing something special together, rising through the storms." He nodded, their connection shimmering like the stars piercing the dusk. "I won't stop helping this community, not while I'm here." In that moment of understanding, Maria felt her heart swell with hope. Not just for her children but for everyone. They had crossed the obstacles that once shaped their lives, now stepping into a future filled with possibilities. As the night beckoned with a promise of renewal, she knew this was just the beginning. Together, they could build their community anew, frame by heartfelt frame, where dreams could grow and flourish. Now, it was time to celebrate that transformation, a true testament to what they had created together. So, as Maria gazed at the twinkling stars above, she felt an undeniable charge, a chorus of voices lifting their spirits in unison. The darkness of uncertainty had been replaced by a vibrant tapestry of hope and connection. And that, dear friends, was what made all the difference. Now is the moment to stand with us. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire and transform. Leave a like right now, as it fuels our journey and helps spread this energy to more hearts. Comment on your thoughts and feelings about this powerful ending. Your voices matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this transformation alongside all of us. Let us grow this community of support.